Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Monday, April 11th, 2022. And our top story today, assisting and honoring our nation's military caregivers. And joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Sean Moore is the Financial Wellness Program Manager for the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. Sean, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
So we're going to talk about military caregiving. So on our program, we have talked about caregiving with caregivers and also organizations that help caregivers and help provide that. But military caregivers, to me, being a member of the military, protecting our freedoms, both here in the U.S. and abroad, that's something very special. Tell us about military caregivers. They have a huge burden on their hands.
I can sure tell you about them because I am one to a veteran who spent 23 years in the Army. So I think first, there are 5.5 million military and veteran caregivers. So I don't think that we really take time to think that there are actually military caregivers, right? I think when you think of a service member, a veteran that's been wounded or ill due to their service, you think, oh gosh, maybe it's the VA that's taking care of them, right? But if they are, at the same time, they have a family that is picking up those pieces after they may get care at the VA. We've got those invisible wounds. We have physical wounds as well. Can you imagine these caregivers that have had no professional training doing wound care to someone that is an amputee? That's not something that we were taught. What about caring for someone with those invisible wounds? What about PTSD and, depression, suicidality? It really affects the whole entire family. And I don't think our communities really think about that and look past our veterans. We take really good care of our veterans in this country. But I always say, when you think of veteran, if they've got somebody standing beside them, thank them too. I can almost guarantee you they're taking care of a lot behind the scenes.
I completely agree, and I think there's a whole nation that deserves to express a lot of gratitude towards military members and their families for a lot of reasons, including caregiving. Let's talk about this program that is done in partnership with the Bob Hope Foundation. Many people, at least of my age, remember Bob Hope. He was an amazing comedian, traveled all around the country, all around the world, I should say, entertaining our military members in areas where we were having war, etc. He did that for decades. But what is this program that the Elizabeth Dole Foundation and the Bob Hope Foundation have partnered on to help these military caregivers?
Well, as you said, their foundation and Bob Hope had a lifetime legacy and has left a lifetime legacy to really taking care of those and supporting the troops. So one of the things that they wanted to do, one of the things they first did with the Elizabeth Dole Foundation is a little over a year ago, they provided funding for our Hope for the Holidays, where we provided caregivers and their families with $500 to $1,000 grants right around the Christmas time. It was right smack in the middle of our COVID pandemic. So it really, really supported so many caregivers. But what we found was that where we wanted caregivers to take that money and provide Christmas presents for their children and their family, they weren't. They were using it for food, rent, mortgage, car payments, bills. So that is when we came to the realization and went back to the Hope Foundation and said, can we do more? And with a gracious gift of $500,000, we were able to launch the Hope Fund for Critical Financial Assistance at the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, which just launched on Monday. And we are seeing great success. I am just honored and blessed to be able to administer this program, which we are in hopes fills the gaps that maybe other organizations or local support services doesn't fill. So maybe those larger grants, maybe something such as a child in a veteran home doesn't have dental insurance, but they need a procedure done, but they can't afford it. We want to be able to provide that for them. So the caregiver applies, and we have gotten applications for mortgage assistance, rent, food, utilities. Some of the applicants don't have a stove or refrigerator. They need repairs done so that their veteran can get around better in their house. It's been fabulous. What is this, Thursday, 4 days into the launch, and I have 161 applicants in the system at this point in time.
That's amazing. So we're gonna have to carry this over a break, but the last question before we go to break, how do people apply? So if someone who's a veteran or a caregiver of a veteran and has a family wants to apply, how do they do that? Do they go to the Elizabeth Dole Foundation website, or is there another URL that they use?
You can go to hiddenheroes.org, and then under our help, you will see the Hope Fund, and it tells you all about the fund as well as has the application. Click here button, and that will get you to the application so that you can apply.
And then you and the team have to, I guess, sift through that. There's probably documentation and things that people need to provide, like if you have an unpaid rental payment, for example, there's probably some type of validation that you have to provide to make sure that things are legitimate.
Absolutely. So first, this program is open to all eras of veteran caregivers, and they are the actual ones that are filling out the application. So not the veteran, the veteran caregiver. We do require proof of veteran service that you have to upload, such as a DD-214, VA benefits letter, something like that. And we do pay the vendor. Therefore, we need, like you said, a copy of an invoice or an estimate. Say you are getting dental work done. Most of the time we get an estimate of what that is going to look like for us. So something on those lines.
Yeah, really important for people to understand that, to go to the website and to apply. Hopefully a lot of people watching this are thinking about doing this and really trying to help themselves, their families out. Well, Sean, I need to take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about the need for financial assistance for caregivers and also what you can do as someone who's watching, maybe who wants to help out a family of a military veteran. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking this morning to Sean Moore of the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. Sean, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here.
And thank you to you for being a military caregiver, military spouse, and also for working in the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. We should say thank you to the Bob Hope Foundation as well for everything that they're doing. So if someone's watching this, wants to help, maybe they can't make a $500,000 donation, that would certainly be nice. I wish I could give one. But if they just want to help out a military veteran and their family, caregivers, how do they do that? How do they pledge money? How do they transfer money to this cause?
Absolutely. So if you go to elizabethdolefoundation.org, you are going to see a donate button there that you can utilize. Our address is on the website as well. If you would rather send in a check, you can do that as well. And as I was looking through applications, one of the things that I thought about was, gosh, we have all these sorts of asks, and to me, there could even be organizations in different areas that maybe they provide a ramp, to a veteran that's needing a wheelchair ramp at their home, or maybe they have skills that could renovate a bathroom, things like that. So if you kind of think out of the box, we even had requests for needing a fridge or a stove. Can you imagine gift cards for things like that? So think out of the box here. Sometimes it's not just about money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm assuming people can, if they can't write a check or they don't want to write a check, they can, I guess there's an encrypted way to use credit card, Venmo. I don't even know if you're using Venmo. Do you guys accept Bitcoin?
Oh my gosh, I bet we do. Please reach out to us at info@elizabethdolefoundation.org so I can get you some more information about that.
Okay, well, I don't know. I was just kind of joshing there, but I have been reading that more and more charitable organizations are accepting cryptocurrency. Let's talk a little bit about just the mental challenges that caregivers face. You mentioned at the outset of our interview in the first segment, taking care of wounds, invisible wounds. You're not part of MASH, right? Remember the old show MASH? You're not a MASH doctor. You've got to learn those things. But there's a mental health component of this that we have seen with other caregivers. I would imagine that is significantly elevated for military caregivers because they're facing things even in greater than what a traditional caregiver would experience.
Absolutely. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of my personal story because I think when we can share our stories, not only does it help us and it helps us heal, but at the same time, there's that connection piece. Like I said, I am a military caregiver to my husband who has invisible wounds of war, PTSD, depression, anxiety, suicidality. And after 7 combat tours to Afghanistan, why wouldn't you? But the mental health of the family, it takes a toll. And here's why. My husband has been inpatient 5 different times in the last year due to suicidality and or a suicide attempt. In fact, he just got back home last week after a suicide attempt. So if the military caregiver is not getting help themselves, I mean, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you today, right? Because my mental health wouldn't be in a good place. But it is due to my colleagues at the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. I work for a great organization that understands caregiving. I also have a number of other caregivers, in my back pocket that I can text, call, connect with on social media. And if you don't have that, your mental health is going to struggle. I've reached out to counselors before, and that's a little bit about, a military caregiver, but we have to think about the kids as well. I mean, if you have a loved one that is going to the hospital due to a suicide attempt, how do you talk to your kids?
Yeah.
And that's what's so important, right? We have to make sure that we're talking to our kids, because a lot of times kids put things into their head that really isn't exactly what's happening. So that can be really scary to them. Just so you all know, I'm actually a social worker as well. So I get the mental health side of things, and it's really, really important to me that our caregivers are not only taking care of themselves, but their kids too. And one of the things with financial wellness, this whole piece is part of a larger whole in mental health. If you're not financially able to pay those bills coming in or survive a crisis, that eats at your mental health as well. Well, we already have some issues that we're having to step through by taking care of a veteran. If we can give a hand up when someone is going through a crisis with that's part of it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is such a burden. Financial burdens can be a significant burden, lead to a lot of mental health issues, and can't sleep, can't eat, can't stay healthy. If you don't have your health, you can't take care of somebody. Last question, and I probably should have asked you this at the outset of the interview, at the top of the show, but let's talk a little bit about Elizabeth Dole. She was a senator from North Carolina. She was also married to the late Senator Bob Dole, who was a military veteran. So I know you can't speak for her, but I would have to imagine she personally very passionate about our men and women. She was passionate about the armed forces because of her husband. So I have to think that she's very passionate about this issue.
She is very passionate. She was a caregiver herself for many, many years. And the Elizabeth Dole Foundation started because when Bob Dole was in Walter Reed, she saw many other military and veteran caregivers at the side of their loved ones with hardly any resources, any support. So she took that and made it her mission to support military and veteran caregivers. And what best person to do it than someone who walked that life as well, right up to the very end of Senator Bob's life.
Yeah.
I mean, what a legacy that not only he has left, but she is leaving along the way, paving the way for our whole entire country, communities, both large and small, when I say military caregiver or you say military caregiver, we know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We're not there all the way, all across the United States.
Well, hopefully we get there. I think this is a pretty compelling conversation. People can certainly go to the website, see for themselves, and make a donation, make a pledge. And I left out Bob Hope's wife, Dolores. It's the Bob and Dolores Hope Foundation. So my apologies to the Hopes, to Linda Hope, who's the executive director there. Sean, we're going to have to leave it there. Great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. And we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Thank you so much.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news in lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more, all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to see our latest content or search our archives? Well, check out our website. And of course, our streaming partners like Amazon, Roku, Samsung, over 100 more. We're backing in tomorrow for another edition of BRN AM. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the first lifestyle and wellness network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Are you being audited? And do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.